People often believe men are hard to read, almost like they're built with this invisible wall that keeps their true feelings hidden. But here's the truth. When a man genuinely becomes emotionally attached, he can't keep it under wraps. He may try to act cool, detached, or even unaffected, but his behavior gives him away every single time. And when that emotional bond kicks in, 7 powerful things start happening. I want you to really pay attention, because once you recognize these signs, you'll never again doubt whether a man is truly invested in you or just passing time. So let's dive right in. When a man truly begins to develop emotional attachment, one of the first and most undeniable shifts you'll notice is that your happiness suddenly takes priority over his comfort. This is not something men can easily fake, nor is it something they do casually. Think about it. Most people are naturally wired to choose convenience, to avoid going out of their way unless it truly matters. But when a man feels emotionally connected to you, that wiring changes. Suddenly, what once might have been a hassle becomes something he gladly does, simply because it brings a smile to your face. Maybe he's had a long, draining day, and all he really wants to do is collapse on the couch, but he'll still show up because he knows you've been looking forward to seeing him. Maybe he drives through late night traffic to bring you your favorite snack, or he takes note of that off-hand comment you made weeks ago about how you've always wanted to try a certain restaurant, and then, out of nowhere, he makes it happen. These little choices are not about impressing you, they're about investing in your happiness. They show that your joy is no longer separate from his own. What's powerful here is that he doesn't just do this when it's easy. Anyone can be thoughtful when it doesn't cost them anything. True attachment shows itself when he chooses your needs even when it asks him to stretch, sacrifice, or step outside his comfort zone. That's the difference between surface-level attraction and deep emotional investment. When he's emotionally attached, he doesn't weigh the effort against the reward. He simply acts because in his mind you're worth it. And here's something most people overlook. This behavior doesn't always come with grand gestures. Sometimes it's incredibly subtle. It's him staying up late to talk when you're upset, even though he has an early morning. It's him choosing to listen attentively when he could be distracted. It's him canceling something less important because he knows you need his support. These are quiet sacrifices, but they carry enormous weight because they come from a place of genuine care. You see, men don't inconvenience themselves for people they don't feel connected to. They may enjoy spending time, they may enjoy the chemistry, but if their comfort is always the priority, the attachment simply isn't there. The moment you see him willing to step out of his own bubble to make your happiness part of his mission, that's when you know his feelings have gone beyond the surface, and it's not about control or obligation, it's about choice. Every time he chooses you over convenience, every time he chooses effort over ease, he's showing you with his actions what words alone could never fully capture, that he's emotionally invested, and your happiness has become part of his own. When a man starts becoming emotionally attached, something fascinating happens. He begins to open up in ways he doesn't with anyone else. Most men are conditioned from a very young age to keep their feelings guarded. They're told to be strong, to hold it together, to not reveal too much of what's going on inside. So on the surface, they often appear calm, composed, even a little closed off. But emotional attachment changes the rules. Suddenly, with you, he feels a sense of safety, a sense of trust that allows him to drop the walls he usually keeps so carefully in place. At first, it may be small things. He might start sharing bits about his day in more detail than usual, not just the surface-level highlights. But then, as his attachment deepens, he'll reveal things he doesn't share with others. He'll talk about his insecurities, his fears about the future, the challenges he faces at work, or the doubts he carries quietly. He may even confess dreams he's never told anyone because he's always been afraid they'd sound foolish. This kind of openness is his way of saying, without words, I trust you with the parts of me I usually hide. It's important to realize how rare this is. Many men can be fun, charming, or attentive in conversation, but real emotional openness is something entirely different. When he shares his struggles, it's not because he wants pity or attention. It's because he feels connected to you. He feels safe enough to let you see the unpolished version of himself, the man behind the mask he shows to the rest of the world. That's not casual, that's intimacy, and it's not just about problems or pain. He'll also start sharing his excitement, his passions, the things that light him up inside. He might talk about ambitions he's never spoken aloud, or he might invite you into the little quirks of his world, things that would seem insignificant to others, but feel meaningful to share with you. These conversations build an emotional bridge between you, one that goes far beyond physical attraction or surface-level chemistry. What makes this so powerful is that vulnerability is not easy. For many men, it feels risky, even unnatural. So when he allows himself to be open, it's a sign that his attachment has taken root. It means he's not just enjoying your company, he's allowing you into his inner world. And once you're in, you're no longer just someone he likes. You're someone he trusts, someone whose opinion matters, someone who has the power to affect him on a deeper level. This is the stage where he begins to truly bond with you, not just as a partner, but as a confidant. It's where the relationship shifts from fun and attraction into something real, something lasting. Because when a man starts to open up and reveal who he is behind the armor, it's not just a conversation. It's an invitation into his heart. When a man becomes emotionally attached, one of the most natural instincts that surfaces is his need to protect you. And let me be clear, this isn't just about stepping in during moments of danger or acting like some kind of hero in dramatic situations. Protection, when it comes from emotional investment, shows itself in subtle, everyday ways that often go unnoticed if you're not paying attention. It's not about control, it's about care. It's his quiet way of saying, I want you to feel safe when you're with me, because your well-being matters to me. Think about the little things. He'll ask you to text him when you get home after a night out, not because he doesn't trust you, but because he won't feel at ease until he knows you're safe. He'll notice when you're stressed and try to find ways to ease your burden, whether it's taking something off your plate, making you laugh to break the tension, or simply listening without judgment. He'll step in when someone disrespects you, not always with words, but with his presence and the way he subtly shifts to stand by your side. What makes this so telling is that men don't go out of their way to do this for just anyone. A man can be polite or courteous with people he doesn't feel connected to, but when there's emotional attachment, protection becomes instinctive. He feels responsible for your emotional state, your comfort, even your sense of peace. If he senses that something or someone is making you uncomfortable, his energy shifts. He wants to shield you, not because he thinks you're weak, but because his heart won't let him stand by while you're struggling. And here's what many people miss. This protective instinct is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and almost invisible. It's him grabbing your jacket when it gets cold without being asked. It's him checking the locks before bed because he wants you to sleep without worry. It's him choosing his words more carefully when he knows you're already feeling sensitive. These may seem small, but they carry a powerful message. Your well-being is now tied to his own sense of peace. When a man is emotionally attached, your pain bothers him more than he admits. He feels it deeply, even if he doesn't show it outwardly. That's why he tries, in big ways and small, to protect you not just from external harm, but from emotional strain as well. He wants to be the person you can lean on, the one who makes things feel lighter when life gets heavy, and that instinct, to protect, to shield, to care, doesn't come from fleeting attraction, it comes from love beginning to take root. When a man starts to feel genuinely emotionally attached, one of the clearest signs you'll notice is how he begins to weave you into the fabric of his life. In the early stages, things might feel separate. His world is his world, and you exist just outside of it, meeting in those moments where he chooses to let you in. But emotional attachment changes that dynamic completely. Suddenly, he doesn't just want you on the sidelines, he wants you in the picture, standing right there with him, part of everything that matters. This shift shows up in the way he introduces you to his friends and family. Men don't do this lightly. If he's only passing time, he'll keep you separate, compartmentalized, because blending the two worlds would mean he sees you as something real, something lasting. But when his heart is invested, he can't help but bring you closer. He wants the people who matter most to him to know you, to see you, and even to accept you, because in his mind you're becoming one of them. It also shows in his future plans. Listen closely when he talks about what's ahead. Holidays, trips, even long-term goals. Does he say I? Or does he start to say we? That language shift is subtle but powerful. A man who is emotionally attached begins to imagine a future with you in it. He doesn't just talk about where he's going, he includes you in the vision. That's because he no longer sees his life as a solo journey. He's starting to see it as a shared path. You'll also notice this blending in the little, everyday things. He'll bring you into his routines, invite you into spaces that used to be private, or share hobbies and interests with you. Maybe it's introducing you to his favorite coffee spot, showing you the music he loves, or pulling you into traditions he's carried for years. These moments aren't random, they are intentional. They're his way of saying, I want you to understand me, the real me, and I want you to be part of the life I've built. And here's the beauty of it, when a man integrates you into his world, it's not just about presence, it's about belonging. He no longer treats you as someone who exists alongside his life, but as someone who fits within it. He stops thinking of my world and your world as two separate things and starts seeing them as one. That blending doesn't happen with everyone. It only happens when his attachment runs deep enough that he can't imagine living his story without you being a central character. This is one of the most profound shifts you'll ever notice. Because once a man starts merging his life with yours, he's showing you that you're not temporary, you're not replaceable. You're becoming essential. When a man becomes emotionally attached, his effort shifts in a way that's impossible to miss. In the early stages of attraction, it's easy for anyone to put on a show, grand gestures, sweet words, exciting plans. But those things don't always last because they're fueled by the rush of newness, not by genuine emotional connection. The real test of how he feels comes later, when the excitement of the chase fades and real life sets in. That's where consistency separates a man who is simply interested from a man who is truly invested. Consistency means he doesn't just show up when it's convenient or when he wants something. He shows up because being there for you has become part of who he is. He texts not because he feels obligated, but because you cross his mind and he wants to know how your day is going. He makes time for you, even on busy days, not because it's easy, but because not making time doesn't feel right to him anymore. His presence stops being an occasional gesture and starts becoming a steady rhythm you can rely on. And that's the beauty of emotional attachment. It creates reliability. You no longer feel like you're guessing when he'll call, when he'll make plans, or when he'll show interest again. Instead, his effort forms a pattern. He's not hot one day and cold the next. He's steady. He doesn't only make big promises, he backs them up with everyday action. Whether it's remembering the small things you say, checking in when you least expect it, or being there when life gets difficult, his consistency builds trust. This matters because real relationships aren't built on intensity, they're built on dependability. Anyone can sweep you off your feet for a week or two, but it takes emotional attachment for a man to want to keep showing up, day after day, without needing a reason other than the fact that he cares. And the deeper the attachment, the more his actions align with his feelings. He's no longer trying to impress you, he's simply trying to love you in a way that you feel every single day. You'll also notice that this effort doesn't just happen when things are easy. It shows up during the harder moments too. When you're upset, he doesn't disappear. When you're distant, he doesn't withdraw completely, he leans in. When you're celebrating, he's the first to cheer for you. That steady presence is what tells you his heart is in it, because consistency isn't glamorous, it's not flashy, it's not always noticed in the moment, but it's the strongest proof that you matter to him deeply. So, when you see that his energy, his care, and his effort remain constant, not just in the exciting beginnings, but through the ordinary, even challenging seasons, that's when you know his attachment is real. That's when you know you're not just part of a phase, but part of his life.